that's a good one, that is.
Hello, Arkwright. Must have made a mistake somewhere.
Aye, well, I wouldn't wonder at that. What did you use for foundations?
Foundations? Well, I didn't. I just built it up and rested it on the ground.
Aye, well, it just goes to show, doesn't it? I mean, I could tell you how to build a really good shed that'd stand a good amount of bashing about. Would you like me to come round?
Oh, well, that's very nice of you, Mr Arkwright, if you could spare the time.
Righty-o.
James, haven't you finished that shed yet?
Yes, dear, just putting the finishing touches.
Finishing touches is right. That it's finished is abundantly clear. We shall have to rebuild it, not just touch it up. Well, come on, let's get started. Now, there are several ways of building a shed, you know. Each man to his own taste, or chaque mas en gout, as the French should say. But these are the plans that I've drawn up. They're no better, they're no worse than anyone else's, except yours, of course. However, I can give you a few general hints. And the first is that you must always be careful with the marking out, and always cut on the far side of the line, or else you'll be short. Now the sawing itself. Rest the saw against your thumb knuckle until you're underway. Hold the saw like this and don't dig it into the wood, just let it cut by its own weight. Now for a structure of this sort, you'll need to use halving joints for the framework. You just cut halfway through with a saw and then cut down from the end of the wood to meet the original cut. Do this on both halves. Drill through one side only to take the screws. When it's finished, it should look like this, and it makes a nice firm job of it. If you want one in the center of a piece of timber, you cut down the sides and use a chisel to get the middle bit out. Make the various sections separately and nail them together. Never nail near the end of a piece of wood, or you'll split it. Here, I'll show you on an old piece. See? Now, all the wooden parts of the shed must be kept clear of the ground, or else the timbers will rot. Here, lift up. Pop bricks underneath at about 18-inch intervals, and make sure it's all bedded down firmly. If it isn't, shove in a bit of slate or something underneath. Now here's a tip about laying floorboards. You fix one of your outside ones first and lay the others across without nailing. Then remove the middle ones and mark the position of the other end one. Move it in 1/4 of an inch and nail it down. The two middle ones won't lie flat because they're 1/4 of an inch too wide. Walk along and press them down and nail firmly to each joist with 2-inch nails. And that leaves a nice tight floor. Of course, it isn't really necessary for a shed, but in any case it's a useful tip if ever you do have to lay a floor. Anyway, I always believe in doing the job properly myself. Now, if you have to use weatherboarding, that's this stuff, which is thicker on one edge than t'other. Start at the bottom with the thick edge downwards and overlap each piece by about 1/2 inch. Aye. Now the roof. Corrugated asbestos isn't a bad thing, but you'll have to be careful fixing it. Screw nails and washers are best. Drill holes for the nails and always fix from the top of a corrugation. The water runs down the valleys and it won't be long before it finds its way through if you do it from the bottom. Be careful not to go on hammering after the washer has reached the asbestos, and it'll break and you'll have to buy another sheet. It's all quite easy, really, and before you know where you are, the shed's finished, and just through knowing one or two of the old tricks.
I say, this looks jolly good. Ethel must see this. I'll just call her. Ethel!
What do you want?
It's finished. Come down and have a look at it.
Well, I can see that. I'm not blind.
No. Come down and have a look at it properly.
Oh,
Well, there it is. It'll take all my tools. We made a good job of it, didn't we?
I like that. I watched you building it. Or rather, Mr Arkwright here. Mr Arkwright, you've made a grand job of it.
Oh, thank you very much, Mrs Hardwicke. Oh, it's a good shed. A right good shed, although I says it myself. Nothing short of a steamroller could knock that lock down.